I thought I'd turned the sound on. Here we go again. Sorry about that. Let's go and start again, because you don't have to read the subtitles.
Hello there and welcome. Overcoming fear is one of the greatest moves a person can make. First of all, we have to ask ourselves what causes fear. Fear is caused by ignorance, not knowing. And if we're going to go and do anything new, if we're going to break out of a paradigm, if we're going to change habit patterns, we're wandering into an area we've never been. And you know, fear stops most people. You'll find people afraid to talk to a stranger. You'll find individuals afraid to stand up and ask a question in front of other people. You'll find salespeople afraid to make a sales call, afraid to ask for the order. Stop and think of how confining that is. A person is putting themselves into a small cell, but it's in their own mind. The doors aren't locked. They can open, and you can walk away to freedom if you learn to overcome fear. When you face fear, it leaves you. Face the thing you fear, and it'll leave you. That's really the secret of it. In fact, if you hold yourself back because of fear, your life actually comes to a stop, because nothing gets better than it is. You've got to be courageous. Now, courageous people aren't without fear. Courageous people are the ones that face their fear. I think Eddie Rickenbacker pointed that out, the great pilot. Don't let fear stop you. Make up your mind you're going to step out and do it. Stop and think of the number of people that are in jobs that they don't like and they're afraid to leave. Or people in relationships that are destructive and they're afraid to leave. This is a terrible way to live, and it's not necessary. It's just caused by ignorance. And when we step out and do something, we gain an awareness. We develop an understanding. And like that, the fear is gone. Make up your mind that fear is not going to stop you from doing the thing you really want to do. Step out and do it today. It's Bob Proctor. Thank you.
Hi! Welcome back. Welcome back. Thank you so much for being here. I am so happy that you're here and that you've chosen to be here again. I want you to write in the chat, what are the things that you or things, but what's the number one thing that you're most afraid of? The thing that stops you in your tracks. Because I think they can all be boiled down to just a few certain fears. Do you know that when you were born, you only had two fears? One was loud noises, and the other was a fear of falling. That is it. That's it. Everything else was gifted you from your environment. Now, some of them may not be a gift. However, that's how you got them, from the people around you. So my mum was afraid of frogs, and I'll be honest, she used to pour boiling water on them. That's how afraid she was. So I grew up with a fear of frogs. Now, I had a boyfriend at one stage, and there was a gap under his door about this big, and it was raining, and every time it rains here in the territory, you can hear the green tree frogs. They're just all croaking away. Well, I got home, because remember I used to be a chef. I got home from work one night, and it was like 11 o'clock. I opened the front door. The house was full of frogs. And I mean, like, you know how in the Bible, we had the children's Bible growing up, it had like the frog plague sort of thing. That's what it reminded me of. I sat in one chair in that lounge room for 4 hours until 3 o'clock in the morning, waiting for my boyfriend to come home and move them so that I could even go to bed. That's how afraid I was. Now, I didn't go to the extremes that my mum went to, but I just wouldn't touch them. And then it wasn't until I was with my husband and he was just like, what's there to be afraid of? Do you think it's going to eat you or something? And I thought, well, actually, no. And we used to get a fair few of them because we used to live in a demountable down the back of the workshop. So we'd get a few of them in the toilet. And one day he wasn't there to get it out. And I had to get it out. So I just put my hand there and grabbed it, and I thought, what the hell have I been afraid of? Fear is a story that's made up. So having to move back in with my mum if I can't pay the rent. Well, guess what? Whatever you fear, I'll be honest with you, whatever you fear, you are bringing it towards yourself. My fear of frogs brought so many frogs into my life because fear is an emotion. So if you were at your goal, would that be something that you would worry about? No. And that's where you've got to start to change your mind. Change what you think about. 92% of worries never even happen. Worry about the things when they happen. But the thing is, what you also have to do is do the best that you can every single day. You are probably using less than 1% of your potential. Now, you've probably heard that from a lot of people and you go, okay, well, how can I use more of it? Well, the first thing that we have to do and understand is that you have this thing called intuition. I touched on it yesterday. It is a faculty, a mental faculty that lives in your conscious mind. So you have to be aware that it's even there. And I'll play a bit more around with that today. So what else have we got in there? Fear of failure. My nan was afraid of frogs too. Yeah, man. My mum is afraid of heights. I was always afraid of heights. And we went on this holiday over, because I was born in Wyndham in Western Australia, and we came over here following the meatworks when I was 2. And we went back, it was probably 2012, we went back one year for Easter. And when we were kids, we used to go back every year for the races and stuff, and there was this place called the Grotto. Now, the Grotto has these steps, man-made steps, no handrail or no, keeping you in or anything, that you just walk down the side of the cliff face down to the water. I went to walk down with my little kids, so 12 years ago, Ryan would have been 8, so he would have been the youngest. So they would have been 8, 10 and 11 or something. And I had to sit in the car. I got to the top of the steps and, it was just like I just had to flatten down on the ground just about. I just feel myself just have to get too close to the ground as I could, so I can't do this. I went and hopped in the car. Fear can cripple us. So we need to understand it. Fear is there to keep us safe, but it also can keep us in a box. It can keep us stuck where we are. Yeah, we are never, we're not free of fear. We have just understood, and I'm just answering Lisa's question there, or Lisa's statement. Fear is taking action, is that understanding that it's just a made-up story. I'm sure you've all heard it. Fear is the acronym of false evidence appearing real. Where is it real? In your mind. In a picture in your head. Because when it's here, guess what? You take action and you work through it. When it's fear, it hasn't even happened. You're making up a story. Fear of what others think. So I've given you this resource today in the portal that you can print out. And I just want to go through it quickly with you. And I'll just read the bottom here. Both faith and fear demand that you believe in something you cannot see. It's your choice. You get to choose what you believe in, because what you want isn't here yet, and what you fear isn't really here either. You get to choose what you put your attention on. And doesn't that make you feel like, oh my God, actually, I've only been holding myself back, and so now if I just get out of my own way, then the sky is the limit for me? For me, it did. So let's break this down. It starts with ignorance. Ignorance in the laws of the universe. Whatever you think about and add emotion to, the strongest emotion is going to win. And all you will do is bring in more opportunities, not results, more opportunities for you to stay in that vibration, in that emotion. That's how the law of attraction works. It doesn't bring you the thing, it brings you opportunities. You have the choice how you're going to act. So if you're ignorant to this, chances are you'll stay stuck in the same mindset. When this happens, I worry and I doubt, and then it turns into fear. I then get anxiety. Nobody goes, I am anxious. We suppress it. It turns into depression, and then dis-ease is the state that our body is in. And when we are in dis-ease, so we're not at ease, our body starts disintegrating. That's how our body breaks down. So then you think, okay, well, what's the opposite? The opposite is gaining some knowledge, understanding you, understanding what makes you tick. How does this universe work? How does this world work? Study it. Study yourself. Find somebody that has some information that you do not have and study it. Like I was given a task yesterday. I have done this one once before. Anyway, this is my task, to read this 3-page essay every day, and it's called Yourself by Thomas Troud. That was from my coach. Polly, this is where I want you to go. And of course, I'm going to do it because he knows more than me. I'm paying him because he has the knowledge that I want. So I am going to study so I get understanding. When we have understanding, that's a conscious thing. We understand and we can go, oh, actually, it hasn't really even happened. And it's only going to happen if I keep focusing on it. So what would I focus on instead? Oh, maybe if I focus on where I want to go rather than what might happen. Then with knowledge and understanding comes faith. Faith in your ability. You are the highest being that there is on this planet. There is nothing in the world that is able to consciously think something, turn it into a subconscious habit, and become anything that they choose to be. A zebra can only be a zebra. A cat can only be a cat. You can be anything you want to be. Anything that brings you joy. That's what you focus on. What brings you joy? I'm sure, if you're worrying about stuff, it's not going to bring you joy, so stop focusing on it. When you're in faith, you've got well-being. Remember, you're a human being, not a human doing, so you've got to be it. You be in a state. Well-being, you express that. You don't have to shout it from the rooftops, it's just expressed. Just like confidence is expressed. You don't have to stand up there and say, I'm confident. People know you're confident because of the way that you hold your body, the way that you walk into a room, the way that you speak, how high you hold your head. There's body language, it's expressed. And then what happens? You get acceleration because you've got momentum happening. And then your body is at ease and you're in a state of creation. You can create anything you want. Remember, the world gives you exactly what you spend most of your time thinking about, what you're emotionally involved with. So there's this great little book. If you haven't read it, I recommend this copy, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, the complete classic text. And this is chapter 15. So how to outwit the 6 ghosts of fear. And I'm just going to read this little bit here. It says, take inventory of yourself. As you read this closing chapter and find out how many of the ghosts are standing in your way. Before you can put any portion of this philosophy into successful use, your mind must be prepared to receive it. So is your mind open to receiving different ideas? Because if you just keep doing the same thing, you're going to get the same results. You are going to keep turning up as the same person. The preparation is not difficult. It begins with study, analysis, and understanding of the 3 enemies which you shall have to clear out. They are indecision, doubt, and fear. So those of you that are sitting in that place of indecision, make a decision. Doubt and fear, swap it over. A bit of knowledge, understanding. The sixth sense, so this is your intuition. The sixth sense will never function while these three negatives, or any of them, remain in your mind. The members of this unholy trio are closely related. Where one is found, the other two are close at hand. So that's indecision, doubt, and fear. Indecision is the seedling of fear. Remember this, as you read, indecision crystallizes into doubt, the two blend and become fear. The blending process is often slow. This is one reason why these three enemies are so dangerous. They germinate and grow without their presence being observed. Do not be deceived by the habits of these subtle enemies. Sometimes they remain hidden in the subconscious mind, where they are difficult to locate and still more difficult to eliminate. The 6 basic fears. There are 6 basic fears with some combination of which every human suffers at one time or another. Most people are fortunate if they do not suffer from the entire 6. Named in the order of their most common appearance, they are the fear of poverty. Somebody has already put that up there, that they're fearing not having enough money and have to go live with mum. Remember, whatever you think about, you will bring about. The fear of criticism. Now, I want you to think about that story that I don't know if I told it yesterday or last night, that when I went to do a live, and the second live I got a message, that wasn't my friend's fault. I brought that on because I was so afraid of what people would say. I brought that into my life because I was worried about it. I doubted myself. So I was caught up in emotional impact there for a little bit. I was a little bit upset because there's somebody that I still had another trip planned with. So I had to go and spend the weekend with them somewhere. And I thought, oh my God, they don't even like me anymore just because I've chosen to do this business and help people grow. So the fear of criticism, my fear brought that to me. Then the fear of ill health. When you don't have your health, nothing else really matters. Nothing. So the number one thing I would say to you all, if anybody here has health problems, is think about how much water you're drinking. You are 80% water. So if you're not drinking at least 3 litres a day, then something's got to change there for you. And your body has a way of living. It has a natural diet. Get back in harmony with that. That's the 2 things that I would just really say to anybody that is any ill health. If it's in a packet and it's in the aisle, don't touch it. Just eat the fruit and veggies and the meat. Like, it's pretty simple. And drink lots of water. Keep hydrated. One of the biggest things of lack of concentration is lack of water, dehydration. And a lot of people are hungry rather than thirsty. So drink more water. Get some nutrients into your body. Now, those first three, so poverty, criticism, and ill health, are at the bottom of most of everyone's worries. Then there's a fear of loss of love of someone. So what if they don't like me anymore? That's what I had, and that's what I'd brought upon myself. The fear of old age. You can see a lot of that going on now. I am not against anybody going and doing whatever it is that they can to stay looking young. I choose not to. I choose to just be who I am and be the most authentic that I can be. But I also know that you can be younger in your spirit. And when you're younger in your spirit, so that means that you have to think about that. What are young children? They're fearless. They just go after what they want, and they don't care about what people think until we teach them to. So the more free you can be with wanting and going after what you want, I think you become younger. And it's a great idea to have, because it works for me. And then the fear of death. Guess what? We're all going to end up there. There is no way that we can deny that. It is the circle of life. Life is here for the living, though. So if we take away, it's like, okay, well, I know it's going to happen one day. Don't know when, but I can do the best that I can each single day, so that I'm not, and I think ahead a little bit, and I go, okay, if I was laying in my bed and this was my last day and I couldn't move, what would I regret the most? It wouldn't be that I didn't take any action. Well, it would be that. It wouldn't be the actions that I did take. It would be the actions that I didn't take. I wouldn't be worried about, I did this and somebody said this. It'd be, man, I wish I had done that. I wish I had done this. I wish I had done that. I wish I had the courage. Now, there's a whole lot of excuses that you can have too for not getting what you want. There's, in this book here, there is the 57 famous alibis. People who don't succeed have one distinguishing trait in common. They know all the reasons for failure and have what they believe to be airtight alibis to explain away their own lack of achievement. These are your excuses. And I'm going to read them to you. I've never done it like this before, but I just have this thing to read these to you. Some of these alibis are clever, and a few of them are justifiable by the facts, but alibis cannot be used for money. The world wants to know only one thing: have you achieved success? A character analyst compiled a list of the most commonly used alibis. As you read the list, examine yourself carefully and determine how many of these alibis, if any, are your own property. Remember too, the philosophy presented in this book makes every one of these alibis obsolete. Now, I want you just to read the title of this book: Think and Grow Rich. It doesn't say think and just wait for it to come. Think and don't take any actions. It's think and grow. We are not like little plants put in a pot and said stay small. We are here to grow. So here's some of the excuses, okay? There's 57 of them. Won't take long. If I didn't have a wife and family. If I had enough pull. If I had money. If I had a good education. If I could get a job. If I had good health. If only I had time. If times were better. If other people understood me. If conditions around me were only different. If I could live my life over again. If I did not fear what they would say. If I had been given a chance. If I now had a chance. If other people didn't have it in for me. If nothing happens to stop me. If only I were younger. If I could only do what I want. If I had been born rich. If I could meet the right people. If I had the talent that some people have. If I dared assert myself. If I only had embraced past opportunities. If people didn't get on my nerves. If I didn't have to keep house and look after the children. If I could save some money. If the boss only appreciated me. If I only had somebody to help me. If my family understood me. If I lived in a big city. If I could just get started. If only I were free. If I had the personality of some people. If only I were not so fat. If my talents were known. If I could just get a break. If I could only get out of debt. If I hadn't failed. If only I knew how. If everybody doesn't oppose me. If I didn't have so many worries. If I could marry the right person. If people weren't so dumb. If my family were not so extravagant. If I was sure of myself. If luck was not against me. If I had not been born under the wrong star. If it were not true that what is to be will be. If I did not have to work so hard. If I hadn't lost my money. If I lived in a different neighborhood. If I didn't have a past. If only I had a business of my own. If other people would only listen to me. If, and this is the greatest of them all, if I had the courage to see myself as I really am, I would find out what is wrong with me and correct it. Then I might have a chance to profit by my mistakes and learn something from the experience of others. For I know that there is something wrong with me, or I would now be where I would have been if I had spent more time analysing my weaknesses and less time building alibis to cover them. Now, I don't know about you, but I had compared myself and competed with other people about how bad my life had been, how bad some of my relationships had been. And I competed, like, even giving birth. It's like, I was in labour for 28 hours and this one was this long and this one was this long and blah, 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 blah. We seem to be stuck sometimes in a place that does not serve us, talking about things that don't serve us. Why? Because fear's got us in its grips. So I want you to have a think about this today. It's the magic genie. Now remember, you only have 2 fears. 1, loud noises. You remember little babies, as soon as they hear the loud noise, they jolt and stuff? The other is a fear of falling. You're not afraid of heights, you're afraid of falling when you know that. So if I think back to, I think it was 2001. 2001, Craig and I went on this holiday and we went down to Port Augusta, Albany, somewhere down there in Western Australia. And as a kid, I was sick this day that we'd gone there. And so I sat in the car and we went on the karri trees and the bicentennial tree and climbed this tree. It's 52 meters high. So I hadn't been able to do it as a kid, and I said to Craig, let's go and do this when we go on this holiday. Now, I had a fear of heights that I didn't really know about at this time because I'd never done anything like this. And so we got there. Now, this tree has just got like bits of rod around it in a spiral, and then a bit of like kangaroo mesh. It's not chicken wire, it's kangaroo mesh, so squares about this big that go around it. And I got up to maybe the height of the house and I was in tears. And I said, Craig, I can't go any further. And he's like, okay. Now he was just like a monkey and he just kept going. And I had to go backwards, down. Man, I was dirty. So I used to blame, right? Like, and think, what a rude bastard. He just kept going. He doesn't care about me. How dare he? Why am I even in this relationship? Blah, 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 blah. That used to go on in my head, right? So he's gone up, come back down. You can imagine, like, with maybe that was 20 minutes, half an hour. You can imagine the state that I was in when he got down the bottom. I was not happy. I was jealous. Didn't know it, but I was jealous that he could do it and I couldn't. And then I made out like I was hurt that he didn't come back down and sit with me, like he didn't give it up so that I would feel better. Like, so, You know, when I was talking about my mum saying that I make her feel inadequate, that's what I was doing as well. Like, these things are passed down. And so I didn't climb it. I probably didn't talk to him for the rest of the night. Anyhow, when I started this business and I learned that there was only 2 fears, I'm like, well, that's it. I've overcome the frog fear. I'm going to start facing my fears and working out what the truth is. Is it real? So in 2019, 7 years I've been at this. Yes, 2019, we went down for Christmas and we took the kids. And so we got to these trees and I said, I'm going to do this. And the kids are like, Mum, you couldn't even come to the grotto when we were there. That was going down. How are you going to go up and you got to come back down? I'm like, I'm going to face this fear. That's it. I'm doing it. Decision. Now, did I have sweaty hands? Yes. Was I nearly in tears? Yes. Now, what did I have to do with my body? I had to tell my feet to step. I had to tell my hands to hold on. Now, I get sweaty hands just even thinking about it now. And so I thought the only way I'm going to fall is if I let go. I'm just not going to let go. I am in charge of my body and I will tell it what to do. So Craig went first, then Maddie, then Hannah. Oh no, Hannah said, I'm not going. And then Ryan was above me. Now he did a poly, got up as high as the house and he's like, oh, no, Mum, I can't do it. Now, these little pegs are maybe this wide. And so there's the outside of the tree and then there's the close to the tree. I'm like, holy shit, I'm the mum, right? So I am responsible for these kids and their well-being. So I thought, I've got to let him go down close to the tree. So I had to move out to the outside, let him go through and then keep going. And same as when people were coming down, I had to sort of do the same thing, or they went their way, or people were faster than me, because I didn't go up there like a rat at a drain pipe. Maddie and Craig did, they were monkeys, but I was just slow and steady. Like, there's no rush, you just go at your own pace. I got up the top there, I did a live, and then you have to come back down backwards. But I noticed, I took stock of the thoughts that went through my head. What was I really worried about? Falling. That was it. And maybe hurting myself. And you know, the things like your pictures in your head, like you're just going to bounce off that one and hit this one and do this and fall through there. It's like, hasn't happened. Don't worry about it. It's not true because it hasn't happened. Don't worry about it until it does. And it's not going to, because you're going to hold on. So just keep your focus on the top of the tree. Just keep your focus on that little basket up there that you're going to stand in there and do a live. And that's all you have to do. You're going to have to talk yourself through this. But if you don't do it now, when will you? When will you face some of your fears? Some of you are telling me that you've been at something for 40 years. Some is 3, some is 6 months. But your fears are stopping you. They're made up. They're stories. And even anything that you have feared in the past that has come into fruition, you're still here. You got through it. But if you stop worrying, you open up your mind to be able to think about something else. And then you open it up to receive the messages from your intuition. Now, isn't that cool? So, I'm just going to have a look here. Always scared of falling. Might be why I have a lot of falls. Yeah, probably. Some people make excuses while other people make progress. Yes, they do. And, you know, when you think about that, when you think about that some people let excuses hold them back, where do you think you're going to be on your deathbed if you keep doing that? On the last days of your life, are you going to look back? So I think, like, I come from the place of, what's the legacy I want to leave? What do I really want to leave? I just want to be about the drinking water and being debunked, people wash out the nutrients and the minerals. Yeah, put a bit of good Celtic salt. Celtic salt has like 92 to 95 minerals in it. If you put a bit under your tongue or put some in your water, you can get rid of all of that. Salt is not bad as long as it's good quality, not Saxa salt, but good quality salt will replenish your minerals. You don't need a lot of it either. It's really good for you. Yeah. So I really want you to think about that. Like, think about what am I letting worry me? Has that even happened? And if 92% of your worries have never even happened, are you going to keep letting a story keep you back and hold you back? Now, people may say something to you. People may have something to say. Don't take it personally, because it's not about you. It's about them. Because you're thinking different to what they can, like their logic can get to, or you're doing something that they don't have the courage to do. So you may be making them feel inadequate. You know, I had a lady that helped me with my Facebook, and at the same time she'd started doing lives, and this kid that was an apprentice came in, and he said one day, he said, "Oh, I felt so embarrassed for you today when you were talking on the phone and stuff like that." And she's like, "Oh." And I said, "Don't you fucking let that stop you. Don't you let him stop you, because then he's in control of your life and he's in control of your success. One day he will probably have to do this stuff for himself. He will have to put himself out there and do something different to have the life he wants." He has since backpedaled and had to advertise his own business and stuff like that. So you know what? The people that are ridiculing and the people that have something to say, it's just because you're pushing buttons in them that they're afraid to do. Like, you're pushing their fear, and their fear is coming up. And how do we, like, you think about the excuses, all the what ifs and the if I had only. You're pushing people's fear barrier. It's okay. Now, faith comes from understanding. Now, I just want to say something about the water too, because it did happen to my mother-in-law. We were doing one thing together years ago, this bloody, 500 calories a day or something, and had to do our water intake. It was a super fast fat release or some shit. We're taking all these tablets and drinking all this water and eating like 500 calories, so minimal food. And she wasn't used to drinking that amount of water, and it replenished, like it depleted all her minerals. And you know what the doctor said? And it was not long after my father-in-law had taken his own life, and he had done a lot of the cooking. And when he cooks, salt goes on everything. And after he had gone, there wasn't as much salt that Diane would use. And so she collapsed one day at the doctor's surgery, and I went and picked her up, and she said, "Too much water, Polly," or they told me I had to eat more salt. So your potassium levels will go down if you increase your water. So you've got to counteract that. Some people do it with those hydrolytes and stuff like that have a lot of salts and nutrients. You can just do it with a really good quality salt. You can research that, look up Celtic salt. Also, Barbara O'Neill does a lot of work with that. I don't follow her completely, but she has some good information about how your cells in your body take in more water, and when you have salt in, they actually take it in. It's really good. Yes, what other people think about you is none of your business. It is none of your business. Just mind your own business. And the other thing too is, you know, the less you judge other people, the less people will judge you, because whatever you put out, you will get back. Everything is a mirror out here. It is showing you what you've got going on in your subconscious mind. So your results are the product of your subconscious mind, because it's in charge of your body, and it's also in charge of what you think consciously. Unless you decide yourself, I am going to think this. Your paradigm will put thoughts into your consciousness unless you consciously decide what you're going to focus on. Like, this is so simple. But if you just look out there and go, okay, my environment is the result of what I am thinking and what I'm internalizing and the paradigm that I'm working with. So you pick bits that you don't like and you go, okay, I don't like this. So what would be my goal if I had the opposite? Or if that was not a part of my life anymore, what would that goal be? So if you have ill health, your goal would be to have a healthy body. If you were broke, your goal would be to have more money. If you had no relationships, your goal would be to have relationships. This is how simple it can be. Just look at the areas that you are not happy with and you don't like the reflection of. And go, okay, that's it. And you just choose one. Choose one that you want to focus on. It doesn't have to be huge. If you're not making much money at the moment, double what you're making now and go, okay, let's start working on this. And that's all I do, is I decide, okay, this is how much I want to earn. And how do I do that? And we go through this a bit more on Friday, is I decide, how do I want to live? And what are my expenses? Put them together. That's what I want to earn. And then I go about doing whatever comes to my mind to do it. I study, I get degrees and whatever else that I need so that I can help people change their life. And then in my other business, I do finance training and stuff like that because I'm in charge of the finances. I really want you to understand this is really, really simple. This is not something that's hard. It's just find what you don't like, decide what you want to go after so that you are happier and go after it. And act like you've already got it. Write your goal like you already have it. And think about the two. I'm going to turn this on. I'll just move me over a little bit. I want you to think about this. This is really, really the simplest thing that I can get you to do here. All of you have a goal card and it says, I am so happy and grateful. Guess what? If you start being that every day, more and more of the day, not just in the morning when you write it, not just when you remember, but start bringing it in consciously to be happy, you're going to be a whole lot better off. Because happiness will bring more opportunities to be happy. When you're grateful, you're going to bring more opportunities to be grateful. If you live in fear, you're going to bring more opportunities to be fearful. It's just really, really simple. I want you to really understand how simple that is. Now, let's just play around with what fear does. What happens in your body? So, we'll make that square again. You have a paradigm in here. We'll just put a big P on it. And then you have your goal. It's just a conscious thing at the moment, right? Now we can make this be, I'll go into our study stuff, everybody, so you know what I'm doing here. We'll make this be an X and this be a Y. Now, at the moment, you've got X conditions in your subconscious mind. Your body is an X vibration, and you will be getting X type results. Pretty simple, hey? You don't have to think. You don't have to do anything differently because it's all done from your subconscious mind. Then, yesterday or Monday, you came up with a Y type idea. And I'm going to be honest with you here. You start to put this idea in your subconscious mind. while it's just up here in this area, nothing happens. Nothing changes. You don't change anything. There's nothing going on really. But as soon as you start to get emotionally involved, and as soon as you do my favorite thing, which is make a decision, guess what happens? It's into your subconscious mind and hell starts breaking loose. Because you are going to do this. You've got faith and you've got fear. You are just going to be swapping over from, what if people say this about me? I'm going to do this. Well, what if this happens? I'm going to do this. What if this? And you are going to be in a space of turmoil for a bit. And this is why it was so important for you to write down your 6 action steps. Because it's at this time, after you've made the decision, you've started to get emotionally involved, the fear is in your face. You've got to go, I know that you're there, but I am just going to take this action right now. Now, the truth is you're probably going to get XY results for a little while. Because you don't know how much momentum your X-type conditioning and actions are still playing out into the future. So it's going to, and it can derail you. You just got to focus on the Y, and you look down here with your senses and you go, okay, all right, that gave me those conditions and those opportunities. Let's go again. Now let's reset. This is what I'm going after. This is my feeling. I'm going to bring it in more and more throughout the day. Fear is going to be there. It's going to be right beside you. But you're going to look at it and you're going to go, it's all right, I know you're there. But we can do this. It's okay. And you are going to start ticking off these 6 action steps. Now, you might only get done 2 today. Tomorrow you start at number 3, and then you add in other action steps. And then the next day you go from whichever one that you didn't get done and you start again. And you keep going, and you keep going, and you keep going. And you find a community that's around you that supports you and says, keep going, don't stop, we've got you, we'll help you through. I saw what you did and I think it's amazing and let's go again. Instead of the people that like, what the hell did you do that for? That's bloody crazy. Why are you doing blah, blah, blah. You're going to have to change your friends. Not all of them, but you're going to have to either change your idea about them or don't worry about them, because your 5 closest friends decide or are the average of your income. So if you got 5 friends on pensions, probably your chances are you'll be on one too. If you got 5 friends that are all earning over the $150,000 mark, chances are you would too. If you got 5 friends that are married and having good relationships, chances are you would be too. You are the average of your 5 closest friends, or your 5 closest people that you spend the most time with. Look at them. And this is what I said last night. Only ask the people that have been where you've been and have what you want for advice. Now, when I heard that, I thought, oh God, that makes a whole lot of sense. Here I was, going and asking somebody that was estranged from their kids and asking how I should parent mine. I'm like, how bloody stupid am I? Like, asking what I should do. I should ask the person that has a really great relationship with their kids what they'd do in this case. And that's what I did. And this is where we are now. You're not going to go and ask somebody that's been divorced 6 times how to have a great relationship, are you? So you find somebody that has the results that you want, and you ask them, what would you have done in my place here? Because you can't do what they're doing now. What they're doing now is they've grown already up there. You're still down here. Like when you think about the levels of vibration, they've already grown to up here and you're down here. Now, if they were born up there, chances are they're not going to have much advice for you. So you find somebody that's up here that has been up here, and you say, how'd you get there? And what'd you do to get there? And what'd you do to get there? And what do you think I should do? I've had mentors since the time I was 17. The first one was with money, because I was fucking shit at it. And so now I have them for myself to help me grow, because if I stop growing, everybody around me will keep going and I'm going to be stuck back here. So I always have somebody that calls me on my bullshit, because I'm pretty strong. I've been told you're a dominant, like do the disc profiling, you're the dominant poly. Yeah, I can talk myself into all the excuses I want to. And when somebody calls you on them, then you've got the opportunity to grow. So we've got to flip over to faith. You can be, do, and have anything that you want. Absolutely anything. It doesn't have to be huge. I'm not here to say you've got to pick the biggest thing that you can think of. It just has to be better than the life that you've got going on now, so that you start to move up those levels. Like that you start moving up the ladder. There's a little thing here about faith, right? If you think you're beaten, you are. If you think you dare not, you don't. If you like to win but you think you can't, you most certainly won't. Just turn that off. If you think you'll lose, you're lost. For out of the world we find, success begins with a fellow's will. It's all in the state of mind. If you think you're outclassed, you are. You've got to think high to rise. You've got to be sure of yourself before you can ever win a prize. Life's battles don't always go to the stronger or faster man, but sooner or later, the man who wins, or the person who wins, is a person who thinks they can. So think about that. You've got to have that can-do attitude. One little thing I want you to think about: when anybody ever comes with negative things or comes with excuses, there's a little thing that I like to do. And that's interesting. That's it. That's interesting. Now today, I've got a little prize for you. Let's just watch this first. I've got this, after I conquered my fear of heights, I decided, oh well, let's go skydiving, hey? Anyway, we all went one Father's Day, and I'll show you that video, but I'll just show you this video for now. It's pretty cool. Some of you have seen it, some of you haven't, but it just makes me smile every single time.
Skydiving is a really interesting confront with fear. I gotta stand up. You go out the night before and you take a drink with your friends, and somebody says, yeah, we should go skydiving tomorrow. And you go, yeah, we'll go skydiving tomorrow. Yeah. And you go, yeah. And everybody goes, yeah. And you go home you by yourself, you're like, Right? You're like, well, I mean, they was drunk too. So then that night you're laying in your bed and you just keep, and you're terrified. You keep imagining over and over again jumping out of an airplane, and you can't figure out why you would do that. So you get there, and then you have this safety brief, and you're standing there, and the guys will tell you, well, if the chute doesn't open, what's going to happen is why the hell, what could happen? So you get onto the airplane, and you're sitting there, and it's extra because you're sitting on some dude's lap, some stranger, trying to make small talk. Yeah, man. So you be jumping with people all the time, huh? So you fly and you go up to 14,000 feet, and somebody opens the door, and in that moment you realize you've never been in a freaking airplane with the door open. Terror, 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 terror. And then people start going out of the airplane. And the guy walks you up to the end of the thing, and you're standing and your toes are on the edge, and you're looking out down to death. They say, on three. 1, 2, and he pushes you on 2 because people grab on 3. And you fall out of the second you realize that it's the most blissful experience of your life. You're flying. There's zero fear. You realize that the point of maximum danger is the point of minimum fear. The lesson for me was, why were you scared in your bed the night before? What do you need that fear for? Everything up to the stepping out, there's actually no reason to be scared. And then in that moment, all of a sudden, where you should be terrified is the most blissful experience of your life. And God placed the best things in life on the other side of fear.
Pretty cool, hey? Think about that. The best things in life are on the other side of fear. And you think about it. I was talking to my husband about this, and because I met him at school, and then he just came up and kissed me one night. He says, "Do you know how fearful I was before I walked up to that bar and said Merry Christmas and Happy New Year and gave you a kiss?" He said, I didn't even know what was going to come out of my mouth. I had nothing planned, and that just popped out. He said, I was so afraid. So that could be something that you fear too. Now, I know we're going to go over a little bit. I want to read out today's prizes. Now, remember, when I read these out, you have to find the email address that is in your portal. It's in today's homework thing there. If your name has been called out, email this address with your address so I can post them out to you. Now, you only have until Sunday to get this done, because I'm away from Sunday and I will need to be somewhere so I can post them. So before I read those though, today's homework is for you to go into my Facebook group. So go into Life by Design by Polly, and you are going to do a 60-second live. And you are going to say what you learned or what's been your takeaway so far from this training. You can introduce yourself, say where you're from, and just say, from this training. Now your heart will be beating. You might have some sweaty hands and things like that could be going on for you. Just do it anyway. And I will be giving prizes to the 5 top people that get it out there. I don't go for the first 5 or anything like that. It's who brings the most feeling into it. Now, if you are somebody that always does lives and you're like, that's not really that scary for me, go and do something that is scaring you and then tell us what you did. Do a live and tell us what you did. So go and take action on the thing that you fear and then tell us what you did. So before you do that, the winners from yesterday and doing yesterday's homework is Alana Young, Sharon Pilkington, Christine Floriani or Chris Floriani, Sharon Joyner, and Shay O'Flynn. So make sure you send me your addresses, please, in the email that is in the portal. Now, the rest of you, you're going to go and do a live. All of you are going to go and do a live. And I'm going to be in there with you. I'm going to be sitting there waiting for you and commenting and saying hello on all your lives. Okay? Are you ready? Are you set? Ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. I'll see you in there.